friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about how to live comfortable on a low income. I feel like if anybody knows about this, it's me. I have lived years upon years and years on a very low income, and it's really hard. I mean, it's not easy. It takes a lot of self-motivation and a lot of determination as well, but I'm going to give you guys some tips that will really help to improve your life and that will help improve the longevity of your income as well as your bank account. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, so the first tip, and this is something that is very, very important, and I feel like it's a really good place to start, and that is know what is coming and going from your bank account. You do not want to have any surprises in the middle of the month, especially if you're on a fixed income and you're like only making a certain amount of money a month. You don't want to have a random expense come out of the blue, whether it's a Netflix bill or whatever the case may be, insurance bill, any kind of bill. You want to know exactly what is coming and going at what time, so you're prepared. You can have extra money in your bank account, because honey, I can tell you right now, overdrafts are not cheap and they're not nice either. So I know personally that my bank charges an overdraft fee, and I have had something out of the blue, like a bigger bill, like $100 bill, and I only had like $100 in my account, and I'm like, whoa, now I don't have any money. So at least if you know what's coming and going, you can prepare for that. You can set aside extra money and you won't go broke out of the blue. My next tip is to set a budget for yourself, especially for non-essentials. And I am specifically talking about splurges here. Like, say if you want to go get your nails done or whatever the case may be, I like to set aside a budget. And I usually switch this up from month to month because things come up. I might have to go to the dentist this month. I might have to pay something out of pocket. So I will change that budget from month to month. So I'll say, okay, I'm going to the dentist this month, and I know I'm going to have to spend a lot of money on that, so I won't be able to spend that much money on myself this month. And that's okay. Sometimes things come up in life that we need to take care of, but it's also good to take care of ourselves as well. So maybe put money aside the month before, knowing that you have a big bill coming up, and even if it's $10, $20 to splurge on yourself, that's totally fine. But just make sure that you have a budget and stick to that budget. Say, okay, well, I have $20 for myself this month. I'm going to go and get a pedicure. And that's it. That's all the money I'm going to spend on myself. Just try to be very strict on that. That way you could save the rest of your money for more essential items. So this next tip is very, very important. And I didn't start doing this until later in life. And I regret not doing it before, because there's been so many times when I had extra money in my account and I was like, oh, let's go out to eat. Let's buy a big dinner, let's do this or that, and I could have put that money aside to save. So I highly recommend, if you guys have extra money just hanging out in your account, put that money aside. Open up a savings account, or just maybe have a safe place in your house where you're holding on to some cash. But I highly recommend to start saving your money. You do not know when an emergency is going to pop up, and you want to be prepared for that. I have been in so many situations where I've had to go into debt, which we'll talk about that in a second, because I didn't have money put aside to save. So that is something that is very important, and I've always heard to at least have like $1,000 worth of savings for emergency funds. That's not realistic for everybody, obviously, but just try to do what you can, even if it's only $10 or $20 a month. Something is better than nothing. The next one is don't go into debt unless you have to. Like I said, things pop up, and sometimes we're not prepared for them. Emergencies happen, and whether it's you need to go to the doctor, you need to go to the dentist, or something is going on with your family, you need to travel, whatever the case may be. But That's why it's important to save money and not go into debt. However, there are certain circumstances where you need to go into debt. Sometimes that happens. It's not the worst thing in the world as long as it's a necessity, as long as it's for like a medical bill or something like that, and you're not just like buying a new couch or something like that, which is something that you could save for. I highly recommend saving instead of going into debt, because I've been in certain situations where I've gotten credit cards, and at the time it's awesome. You're like, ooh, I get to spend this and I get to buy this and it's so much fun. But then later on you're like, oh wow, I can't pay this every month. You know, think about things in a long-term basis. Am I gonna want to be paying this off in 6 months? And I know it sounds good to have things right away, but if you don't need them, if they're not a necessity to your life, then it's worth the wait. It's worth the wait for you to save, and you'll feel so much better about it too. You're like, okay, I paid for this for cash. This is mine. I don't have to pay this off for the next 12 to 16 months, you know? So I highly recommend doing that. Trying your best to not go into debt, but I don't think that debt is evil. I don't think it's the enemy. I think that we all get into certain situations where we need to go into debt as an adult. You know, if you're going to college and you don't have somebody to help you, if you have dental bills, medical bills, and you don't have anybody to help you, there's obviously reasons to go into debt, but I just highly recommend trying not to as much as you can. So the next one is to shop smart, and there's so many ways that you can do this. You can go to more affordable stores. Like for me, I go to Aldi. Their produce is far less expensive than other places. They have a lot of deals. So I highly recommend, you know, or maybe just checking out different grocery stores in your area, comparing prices if you have the time. I know one thing that I started doing, I usually will go to Aldi for my big grocery shops, but then during the week I'll do little grocery shops like at the end of the week. And lately what I've been doing is doing the Kroger pickup. And the reason why I'm doing this is because right now in this state I cannot go out. I'm immune compromised and the virus is still very much there, so I'm afraid to go out. And before I would just have Corey go to the store for me, but I found that once I was able to look online and compare prices, it was so much easier. I wasn't just sending Corey to the store and being like, okay, just get this and this and this, and then him come home with random things, and I don't know how much he spent on each item. I know exactly how much I'm spending on each item whenever I look it up online, and I'm able to compare those prices. And if you can't do the online pickup, I know that sometimes we can't afford to do that, whatever. It's not that much. I think it's free your first time, and then after that it's like $4, and then if you want to express, it's a little bit more expensive. But if you can't do that and you just want to go into grocery stores, just set aside a time out of your day to spend time in there and to look at different prices and to compare. Don't just buy the most expensive thing just because it's more convenient. Take time to look and to compare those prices and to compare the sizes of each item and things like that. I mean, I know that it's hard and it's inconvenient, but it will save you a lot of money. So another way that I like to shop smart is I go to the thrift store. And I know that not everybody is into this, but I highly recommend it. You can get really cute name brand clothes for half the price. I mean, I've got super nice sweaters from the Gap, from Banana Republic, things like that, for like $2 to $3 each. I mean, I'm telling you guys, it is so much more affordable, it is sustainable, and I really recommend it. And I also recommend to shop around for thrift stores because some are nicer than others, and some of them have different deals. Like the one that I go to has a 50% off deal the last Wednesday of the month. And to me, that has been such a blessing because, like I said, I'm able to get sweaters, cardigans, all those things for like $2, $3 each, and it is insane. And these clothes have lasted me for so long. So I really recommend doing that. But obviously, if that's something you're not into, I totally understand. But for me, I love it, you guys. I love going to the thrift store. Next is to opt for less expensive items. And this kind of goes along with the last one, but this is more pointed to electronics like your phones, your iPads, and your laptops. I know that we all want the nicest, the newest, electronic that is out there, but I highly recommend to look around, to compare prices, to not opt for the newest thing because it's the newest thing. For example, I have always loved iPhones. I am an iPhone user and I have been one for quite a while. But to me, I refuse to spend more than about $300 on a new phone. I know everyone's not like that. A lot of people want to buy the newest thing. So they're like, I don't care. I'll spend the $1,000. I'll spend the $800, whatever the case may be. But I highly recommend to go and look around because a lot of the iPhones are the same on the inside. They might have nicer features, but to me, an iPhone is an iPhone is an iPhone. So I really don't mind having an older generation. I love my iPhone. I love my iPhone 7. I just upgraded from iPhone 6 to an iPhone 7. I have no shame in having an iPhone 7. And yeah, I mean, I don't care. I don't need the newest thing because I would much rather save my money for something better or just save for something I've been wanting for a while instead of a new phone. Alright guys, so the very last tip is to tithe, and this is something that might be very unpopular. I know that a lot of people don't like hearing that they should donate, they should tithe or anything like that, but I think it's very important. It talks a lot about this in the Bible. It says that if you donate 10%, you'll get it back tenfold, and this could not be more true for me. I've had blessings on blessings on blessings because I've tithed. And it doesn't have to be to a church. You could tithe to your favorite organization, whatever the case may be, wherever you feel comfortable, but I really recommend this will help your bank account so much, and it sounds insane, but it is true. I highly recommend studying this in the Bible if you're interested, but just try it. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. You will not regret it. Tithing is very important, and it's also important to just help those around you that are less fortunate. So anyways guys, that's gonna be it for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next one. Stay beautiful. Mwah. Bye.